Hello everyone. I'm here with you today to take a look at the early production copy of Deep Shelf. These arrived just a couple days ago, and we want to give you a good look inside, see how everything is coming along. With the paperwork, we were told that there are a couple small issues with this copy. They're already aware of it, and it's being worked on now. But I'll point those out as we get to them. But let's just take a look here. This is a very nice quality heavy box. You will notice there's a little bit of a cover lift right now. That's because all of the punch boards are still in place. Once everything is punched and organized, that won't be an issue. Let's just flip this over, take a quick look at the back. Aside from the overhead light glaring on the box, it all looks very nice, I think. Okay, let's open it up. Again, very nice thick box. So here we have one of our two rule books. Here's the second. The reason there are two rule books is this one will actually teach you how to play the game. This one is concerned with the campaign mode that's for 1 to 2 players. This should teach you everything you need to know. I'm not going to go through all of this, but there you go. A little bit of a turn reference on the back, which is always nice when playing a game for the first time. Same thing for the campaign mode. We have a campaign-specific reference there as well. Next, it looks like we have our scoreboard. This is actually only used at the end of the game for final scoring. Let's see if I can get the focus right. There we go. During the course of play, you don't actually need to have this set up, but it's kind of fun to watch everybody's numbers go up at the end of the game. Alright, so these are our reference sheets. This is one of the components that is not currently correct. These are currently very thin. For the final version, these will in fact be cardstock. These are just to help people get a grasp with the 4 factions in the core game. It's very important. The other thing is on the back, we actually have a reference of all the upgrade tiles in the game. Knowing the capabilities of everything you can do in the game is very important, so we wanted everybody to have their own set of these. All 4 of them here, but again, these will be cardstock in the final version. Next, we have our punch boards. So these are pretty good quality punch boards, nice and thick, sturdy. One of my personal pet peeves is kind of spongy punch board components, and that is definitely not the case here. The other thing, another little annoyance of mine is many punch boards from games. You never really know if you're supposed to keep a piece or not, so in this we actually have that written on the back. This is not important. You can recycle it. Going through here, these all look pretty good. Alright, we're getting down to some double layered components. So this is the science track for the game. And as you can see here, all the spaces are indented. This is actually a triple layered component because depending on your player count, you'll either use this for the 1, 2, or 3 player version, or you flip it over and the 4 player version is a little bit shorter. So there's that. This looks great. Really nice and sturdy component as well. Now for the board, I may need to adjust the camera a little bit to show this off. Okay, and we're back. Here you can see the board set up on the table. This was well advertised in the campaign, but this is all double layer. You can see that I've slotted in some tile components there, but those are kept nicely in place. And that goes for all the various areas as well. If you look down towards the bottom, there's an upkeep track here that's also indented, and some of the tiles slot in at the top here. So this looks all good. Moving back to the box, there are a lot of things here. These look like the flight stands for the submarines. You will need to assemble these the first time you play, but it's pretty simple to do. Here we have the Red Faction's components. Just pull one of these out. And there we go. So you can see that the final screen printed detail is really nice. Alright, what do we want to look at here? So this is, well, it will be a resource tray for the money, but it looks like that is currently where a bunch of the other components are being stored. In here we have the various plastic pieces for the 4 factions. Let's just pull one of these out. Here we have the red submarine, and first time being shown, if I can get the focus right. There we go. First time being shown in its actual proper color. So it looks very nice. It maintained all of its detail. That's great. And here is a crawler. Again, very nicely detailed. Don't know how many people notice, but the crawlers actually have little faces on them, which I've always been amused by. Alright. And of course we have the other factions. I'll just show off one more because I'm a big fan of the purple submarine. So here we go. This is always one of my favorites, even if it is a little impractical from a real-world perspective, but it has a lot of personality. These are the individual trays for the various factions, which is struggling to focus right now. There we go. I will set these up later just to show you what it looks like all put together. But in general, the submarines go there. When the flight stand is in place, it will in fact hold it in place. And the crawlers slot in down here like that to keep them all nice and sturdy. The wood components, of course, go around the side there. Also, the cards will slot in on top. So there are 4 of these for the base game. Also, if you notice, there is a space left over, and that's so that if you have the 5th faction, you can in fact place it in the box. So let's take the rest of these trays out. So here we have the actual tech tray, or upgrades as we renamed it. This will keep all of the upgrades in the game nicely set up so you don't have to go through and do that every time you play. Just going to grab one from the punch board here and demonstrate how it would slot in. So just like that. I wanted to do a jump cut here to show off what the upgrade tray looks like when it's fully set up. So here are all of the upgrades in place. And these are designed so if you need to remove a tile, you push down, they all pop up, which makes it really nice. Otherwise, they hold in place nicely, so you're not going to have these messed up during play. And up here, this is actually a piece of the punch board. It slots into the top of the tray just to make it a little bit more colorful. And the resources, as they're added to the trays, go right in the tracks to tell you what discounts are currently in play. Okay. And the cover. Once everything is in there, this keeps it nice and sturdy while it's in the box. So let's move on. We have green player components here. I'm not going to go through all of them. These look pretty great as well. We have the dark blue faction and purple. Now we have just a bunch of resources. These are the slag cubes. These are one of the more plain components, but they work well enough. Here are the unrefined version of the other ores in the game. Let me just grab a couple gold and a palladium out of here. So these do have a unique shape to tell them apart. For anybody that hasn't paid attention, they do in fact slot in perfectly into the crawlers. So these are one of the primary ways of moving resources around on the board. Let's see, we have a bag of kelp. This is one of my personal favorite components. So these look very nice. Okay. What else here? So these look to be the faction emblems. These are used to designate your starting dock location. So these are screen printed. This is one of the stretch goals. It looks like we have the yellow faction in here instead of the blue. So I'm going to assume the blue is currently in the yellow box. That is something we will have to have them address as well. Okay. We have, this is a bag of the refined gold. They're just a little bit smaller. I think these will be easier to show off in photos, so I'll do that later. This is a bag of the refined palladium, same thing. Similar overall shape, but shorter so that you can tell them apart. Now, these are a little bit unexpected. The stackable tracks, we were originally not supposed to have these be transparent. I kind of like them though, so maybe we will put that to a vote in the community, see what's actually preferred. They are very nice just to look at, and also that you can see the board space through them. The only drawback to making them transparent, of course, is the coloration will be slightly off. So I guess we might leave that up to you guys to decide what you prefer. But I kind of like them. Last bag here looks like the refined version of the palladium. So again, I'll show those off better in still photographs after. Next, what do we got here? So these are the individual, I've gone out of focus, the individual bags for holding the tiles. These are a pretty good size for drawing tiles out of. Pretty good quality. No problems there. And now to something probably a lot of people want to see. These are our double layered player boards. So this is Living Ocean Group. And if I can grab a building and demonstrate. Here we go. These slot in here, hold your components nicely. They're not too tight. There is a little bit of give there, but I think that's actually a nice thing. So you don't have to worry about them becoming damaged, but it will hold them in place pretty well. Of course, all of the building types slot into it. These look really nice. Similar to that, these are the individual submarine boards. So the tech tiles slot directly into the board, same thing. There's a little bit of room around them, but I like that because it means they're not going to get damaged. And those will hold your upgrades in place. And it also holds the ore that you've collected over on the left side. So there should be one of these, or rather two of these for each of the factions. So yeah, these all look great. Moving on, looks like we have some of our kelp and generic dice. And for slightly fancier dice, we do have the marbled texture here. These actually came out very nice. Focus again is not great, but if you weren't following during development, the purpose of these is the arrows point in the direction of the reduction on the die. So you start out at 6, you go down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Alright, well, we have one miniature left, and this is one of my favorites. So this is the Depth Dragon. Quality here is phenomenal. Really nice miniature. You will note that the base is actually painted, and the reason for this is it does have a gameplay function. The red sides of the Depth Dragon are, well, basically it's attacking your structures. The green side, you are able to study this strange creature, and you get rewarded for that. There is also indications on, if I can get it to focus. There we go. So you can see there is also a actual indication of the side. It's X's and O's on the side to show you. But the painted base does make it a little bit easier to tell. Did a little jump cut there because I couldn't open the cards on camera. But the last thing we have here is our decks of cards. You can see there's quite a few of these for various things. The individual faction cards here. So these all look pretty good. Back sides, of course. This is something we talked about during the Kickstarter, which is we reworked these to include icons in addition to the text, which I think was a very smart decision. Yeah, these look very nice. Card quality is pretty good. These all look good. And we do have one or two more decks of cards. So we have regular exploitation events, and we also have the story events for the campaign mode. I'm not going to go through these because there are spoilers in here if you don't want it spoiled. We'll see if I can open these ones though. Jump cut back. Some of the cards in here are just some additional references for scoring, so everybody knows what's going on with that. Then these are the actual exploitation events for the game. Showing off some of the artwork here. These all look very nice. Okay. And I think that's everything from the core box. So let me jump over to some of the expansion stuff.